Hi, in this video, we are going to see the planning of in-service education, what are the methods we can use for the in-service education, and how to evaluate the in-service education program. First, let us see about the planning of in-service education. Actually, it's a major function of an administrator, or it's a major part of an administrative process. And in order to have a successful in-service education program, we have to plan in advance. So it should be a careful process, and we need to have a detailed idea about the process, how it should be carried, what are the factors should be included, where it should be conducted. All these things should be planned in advance. And when you are planning, we should make sure that it is meeting the essential needs of the nurses. And it's an ongoing process because of the rapid technological advancement and proliferation of knowledge demand continuous planning to meet ever-changing learning need. So once if it is planned, we cannot use it continuously for 1 year like that. Everywhere, then and there, according to the changes in the society, you have to revise it. Now we can see the planning process. In the planning process, first we should decide what is to be done, or what are the topics we are going to cover, or what are the areas, or what are the skills we are going to cover in this in-service education program, what are the procedures we are going to demonstrate. So such things should be planned. And next is, why is it necessary? So when we are selecting a topic for the in-service education program, we should make sure that it meets the needs of the society, or it meets the needs of the nurses, and it should be relevant, and it should be meeting with the technological situations, current technological advancements, and it should be an updated one. So all these things you should see, and it should be a needed one for the society and for the group of persons who are receiving it. And how is to be done? So how we are going to do it, whether you are going to use a seminar or a workshop or a symposium, or it may be a demonstration, whatever it is, how you are going to perform it, that should be planned. Where is to be done, where you are going to perform it, whether it is in a seminar hall, or whether it is in a demonstration room, or in a lab, or in a clinical setting, that also should be planned. When is to be done, when are you going to do it, along with the time, when we have to see the time on which day you are going to do, and at what time you are going to do. All these things also should be planned. And next is, who should do the job. So who is the target group, whether it is to the juniors, or whether it is to the seniors, whether it is only for the people those who are working in a certain area, whether it is only for the students, or it is only for the doctors. So such all things also should be planned. And at the same time, you should plan who is going to deliver it, which person is going to perform this in-service education program. That person should be qualified, and that person needs to have competency and skill in that particular topic. So these things you should consider when you are planning an in-service education program. Now we can see the steps of planning. First, we have to identify or establish goals for the top program. After establishing the goals, we have to decide the learning objectives. And after deciding the objectives, you should determine the course of action, how you are going to do it, where you are going to do it, what are the methods you are going to use. Those things should be decided, or it should be done. And assess the available resources. I have told you that where you have to see where you are going to do it, who is going to do, and when you are going to do. So when you are looking into that, especially when you are looking into the place or venue where you are going to conduct the in-service education program, you should see the available resources over there. Seating capacity should be there, lighting should be there, it should be well ventilated, and if you are doing a demonstration, you need to have the equipments for doing the demonstration, and if you need to perform hand washing, you need to have the things for that. So what are the things you need to have? So you need to have a checklist of list of items you need first in your hand, and you should see whether it is available or not. And next is establishing the budget. By considering all these things, by considering the cost of equipments, by considering if you are planning for refreshment, if you are planning for remuneration for the person who is taking the in-service education, by considering all those things, you can plan the budget. And after the program, you just evaluate the result. And after evaluating the result, you just see whether the goals are achieved or not. If the goals are not achieved, again you can plan for the in-service education program till the goals are getting met. For example, if you want to develop competency in a particular topic, or if you want to develop skill in a particular procedure, after the in-service education, you can make the participants to re-demonstrate that particular skill. And if they're doing it perfectly, it's okay. Otherwise, again, you should do it. So these are the steps in the planning of in-service education. Next, we can see the methods of in-service education that include what teaching. That is, it can be a bedside teaching. So sometimes you may get a newly emerging disease in the ward. So by demonstrating the features of the patient, by comparing it with the book pictures, you can have the teaching in the ward itself. And next method is discussion. Instead of taking a class or instead of following the lecture method, you can go for the discussion. You can have contribution from the side of the audience, and already you can give an idea about the topics which are going to get discussed, and on the basis of that you can conduct the discussion in an effective manner. Otherwise, you can use the laboratory, that is, you can use a demonstration method. If you want to perform a procedure or if you want to demonstrate a skill, you can use the demonstration method. And another method is conferences. You can have a conference or you can have a seminar, or if it is a skill-based thing, you can go for a workshop. So these things also will be highly effective. These methods are also highly effective for the in-service education. Otherwise, you can plan for a field trip. For example, if a certain particular procedure is being done, or if a particular facility is there in a place, you can make the staff to visit that place. So when they're visiting over there, they will get an opportunity to see how it is happening, what are the things should be there. So that is also a method for giving in-service education. And another one is job orientation. So this usually we are doing when you are getting placement, or when you are newly appointed, or when your role is getting changed. Giving orientation to a newly appointed person or a person who is coming to the new post is the job orientation. So these are the methods of in-service education. Next, we can see the evaluation of in-service education. You can do the assessment of the knowledge. For that, you can use the knowledge questionnaires, and you can assess the attitude. For assessing the attitude also, you can use the checklist, or you can assess the practice. For assessing the practice, you can use the checklist, or you can go for a pre-test post-test method. That is, before the in-service education program, you will give a questionnaire to the, or you will assess the knowledge of the person. That is pre-test. And after the in-service education program, again you will give the same questionnaire or same test, and you will just compare these two scores, pre and post scores. And if the post score is better, you can make sure that it was, or you can confirm that it was an effective program. Otherwise, you can conduct a written test or an objective type examination, or an essay type, or you can give essay type questions to the audience or to the participants, and you can make sure that it was effective. Otherwise, you can have a checklist, and after the in-service education program, you can make the participants to complete the checklist. Otherwise, you can give a rating scale. It can be a 5-point Likert scale or a 3-point scale. You can give it, and the participants will be giving the feedback on that rating scale. Otherwise, you can perform a practical test. That is, you can make the persons to re-demonstrate, particularly if it is a skill, and the evaluator can observe the person directly. So these are the methods we can use for the evaluation of the in-service education program. Thank you for watching this video. See you soon with a new video.